Okay, whenever you're ready.
The claim I will be responding to is that it takes more faith to be an atheist than a Christian. The secondary claims are the theory of evolution is not a scientific method. Science is inconsistent. The evolution process is based on a series of improbable circumstances, and the validity of the Bible. So I'll be focusing on secondary claims 1, 2, and 4. My response to the first claim, which is the theory of evolution is not a scientific method, I would say that the arguer is right. Evolution is not a scientific method, it is a fact. In fact, the leading Christian apologetics, one Dr. William Lane Craig of Talbot Theological Seminary states that I think the evolutionary theory is compatible with the Bible. So he's saying that he accepts that evolution is true, and it can be compatible with the Bible. Also, the biological evolution is an agreed upon consensus in the scientific community. The term, according to Dr. Lawrence Morin, who is a professor at Princeton University, the term evolution is no longer a theory, except in referring to the various models that attempt to explain how life evolved. Through fossil records, DNA research, and many other things, science field has solidified that evolution is a fact. And also the issue of whether there's enough evidence to support biological evolution has not been an issue for more than a century. The second claim I make is that facts are not subject to change or inconsistent. Science is, the arguer stated that science is always changing, and this is irrelevant to the claim if you stated earlier that the theory of evolution was not science and could not be proven by a scientific method. Also, in his speech, he cited a geologist at Cal Poly Pomona who said that what is true today may not really be true tomorrow, and I find that irrelevant to what his claim was, stating that you need more faith to be an atheist and to be Christian, on the grounds that it's a biological statement, not geological. The third claim is the validity of the Bible. The arguer states that Isaiah 42:22 is written 700 years before Christ, and I don't see how this validates the Bible. It begs the question that you're using the Bible and Christianity's holy book and prophecy to prove that Christianity is indeed true. It cannot support itself. Also, I believe that the manuscripts in the Bible pass through generations and generations of people, and it's similar to the game of telephone. By the time the message gets through to the chain of people, it is changed and is unreliable. Also, he assumes when he says that the Bible, the validity of the Bible, he's assuming that there is a God, and that the Bible is inherently the doctrine of God, and that it is derived from God. And that also all the manuscripts of the New Testament were recorded accurately from Jesus' time.
All right, Grady, you start off pretty well labeling the advocate's main and secondary claims. It sounds like you're going to concede point number 3, but in the body of the speech you don't do that. You actually come up with some responses to it, so I'm not sure why it was excluded in the preview as you're getting to that particular point. The discussion of whether or not evolution is a fact needs to be put in the context. If the advocate is arguing that it is merely a theory that keeps changing based on new information as it comes along, then I think your answer here is that it is a fact and that these changes that they're talking about are minor at best, and that doesn't undermine its validity. That's the way you need to phrase that claim. You basically do a pretty good job demonstrating that biological evolution seems to be accepted as a given, as a premise, rather than just as a hypothesis, and I think that that's okay. But then the question becomes, how does that respond to the advocate's claim? Other than just denying what the advocate said on that first point, does it undermine the advocate's main proposition? And that wasn't clear. There was a challenge to the idea that the facts change, and the explanation of this inconsistency that you talked about, that the advocate had, apparently that they had made some inconsistent argument there, that was not very clear to me. I didn't get the point that you were trying to make there. The issue of relevancy was okay. I think that that's an important one, but the way you talked about it was mostly talking about the scholar that the advocate cited as being a geologist as opposed to a biologist, and so that authority is not applicable in this category. Okay, well, I can kind of see that's a reasonable press to make at that point. And then you got to that point 3 and you started making, you basically made an argument that says that the whole point just begs the question. It's using itself to prove itself, which I understand is the point. The question then becomes, though, how does the advocate's point support their proposition? And if this point is not valid, then what does that mean to that proposition? And I didn't think that was really clear. I thought that you had pretty good challenges on ideas. In other words, you came up with direct responses on some of the ideas and a couple of challenges to the evidence. What we're not getting is much explanation of why your arguments matter, and we need a little bit more of that. And the pacing's a little bit awkward. There's some hesitancy, probably because you weren't quite sure where you were going to go with some of those arguments, and I think that it's clear that that's a problem in the response. All right, thank you.